An important example for learners who may be in grade 11, grade 12, and also learners in certain places that are doing grade 10. This difference of squares example is going to ask you, can I factorize a squared minus 16 into a difference of squares? And you may say, Imad, well, that's as simple as a minus 4 into a plus 4, right? Well, clearly it's simple, right? So I'm not going to worry much about that one. But let's use another example. Let's say, what about a minus 12? Can this factorize into a difference of squares? Now the reality is, yes, it can factorize into a difference of squares. Because all I really need is two terms that are separated by a minus sign in order for it to work. And so let's see how is this true, because it's a minus 12. That factorizes into the square root of the first term, which is a, minus the square root of the second term, which is 12, multiplied by the square root of a plus the square root of 12. And if you're not convinced that this is true, you can multiply it out and you can see and test and determine whether it is true. So that's root a minus 12, root a plus root 12, and let's see what that multiplies out to. Root a plus root 12, root a minus root 12. And this is really a difference of squares, which makes it quite easy to understand and to work with. But what I want to do at this point in time is I want to say, okay, let's do it the long way. Let's do it the full FOIL way. That one times that one times that one, this one times this one, and this one times that one over there. Let's do that. Root a times root a is just as simple as a squared. Root a times root a. Negative times positive is negative, and root 12 times root 12 is just 12. Then root 12 times root a is actually root of 12a, and that's going to be positive root 12a. And this one over here is going to be negative root 12a. And plus root 12a minus root 12a, that cancels out. That leaves me with a squared minus 12. So what am I saying? I'm saying that, sorry, it's not a squared. There's a big mistake I've made over there. Root a times root a is just a. That leaves me with just a minus 12. Because root a times root a, the square roots themselves cancel out. I apologize for that mistake over there. Okay, so that's a very important example. It means that any two terms, if I took y minus x, and I asked you, can you really factorize this in a difference of squares? Now, in the textbooks, it won't be obvious. In the textbooks, you won't see this. In the textbooks, nobody's going to ask you to factorize this. In fact, I won't ask you either. But I'm just saying that it is possible to factorize this with a difference of squares to say it's root y minus root x multiplied by root y plus root x. Because it's possible, right? Okay. And this will become a lot more important if you pursue mathematics at university level, where you need to use certain tips and tricks in order to factorize and make use of it. Okay.